So for investors, we always hear OPM, other people's money. You have leverage. You can maybe get it for, cost you a little bit of money, but you can use the other people's money to make money, right? Instead of, saving up $300,000 to buy a rental property, you can maybe borrow 250,000, come up with 50,000, and then you can rent that property. You can then get a return on that investment. And so then you're looking at the return on your money, the cost of that money, and that's the power of OPM, other people's money. There's another OPM that people forget about, other people managing. Think about a property manager. You spent all this time to buy this property, focus on all these strategies to use other people's money, but then you just created yourself maybe a second job. And so if you think of OPM, other people managing, really it's other people's time, using other people's time to help make your investment, take care of your investment, help your investment grow. That's one way to look at property managers and how they can help you be a piece of this system to help you grow your portfolio, help you become wealthy. You do see it often where somebody gets into real estate investing, and say they decide they're going to focus on long-term rentals, and it can become a second job. I know when I did it when I first started, I was trying to do all of that myself. I was finding properties. I was working a second job. I had a family. And then now I had to go collect rent, manage maintenance, all that kind of stuff. And, I actually enjoyed it. I learned a ton from it. And so I think it's also important for landlords to understand the process, the procedures, kind of what goes into managing rentals, what it looks like when a tenant calls you and needs something late at night, or, the different reasons they might tell you that they're going to be late on rent. I think it's also important to learn how difficult it is sometimes to run a background check application fee. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, if you're looking to be an investor that is doing this to help make your life easier, other OPM is a big one, other people's money. That's a great way to get into it, a great way to start investing. But then you also want to look at other people's time, other people managing. And so whether it's those people managing the maintenance, managing the day-to-day, the rent collections, think of a property manager. And that's what we do. Again, we have systems, processes, all this stuff built out so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, on how you do an application, what you're looking for. We do this all day, every day. We process applications on multiple rentals weekly. We do showings often. And so it's just kind of part of what we do. We just plug it into the system and we just make it another process we do, whether it's lease renewals, rent collection, eviction notices. Like right now in DC, we're dealing with a lot of lead pipe replacement, that can be very time consuming for a single landlord that might think they need to do X, Y, and Z to make sure this happens. We have that process already built out where DC Water reaches out, we reach out to the tenants, we kind of update everybody, we approve it, and then we just make sure it happens and we keep everybody posted. So that's just kind of one of those simple things that pops up randomly that isn't something we've really thought about in the last 5 years. That is, kind of something we're dealing with on a weekly basis now. So again, other people's time is just as important as OPM. You look at the cost of us, a couple $100 a month to do all of this, to be available, to be on call. Again, we've talked. It's worth a lot of money. It's worth a cup of coffee a month. All the things that you could be doing on a weekend that now you're going to a property, fixing a little maintenance or checking on something, you can now have us do that. And we typically don't charge a lot for that, especially if it's part of maintenance. That's going to be a cost that's already built in because you're going to hire a vendor to do it anyways. We can troubleshoot out over phone, help those tenants with those questions. So just think of the difference. You got OPM, other people's time, and we just look at OPM as other people managing the situation, managing that for you. And a good investor is really good at using other people's money and then using other people's time. So thank you for watching.